Dear students, last time when we were learning motion, we learned a few physical quantities. Motion itself being a relative quantity, which means that if we change the position of observation, the quantity also changes. We have also learned that to describe motion fully, we not only require the magnitude but also require the direction to completely describe it, and therefore it is known as a vector quantity, whereas temperature, mass, volume, etc. are scalar quantities. To describe them, we only require the magnitude. Now let us say I had also given you an example of a morning walk of a person. I did not see him move because while going to buy the milk, I saw him standing at the gate. While returning from the milk shop, I again saw him standing in the same place. For me, he had not moved. And when I asked him, he told me that he had completed an entire circle of 800 meters. Now, how do we describe the two situations? We describe the two situations by two different terminologies. One is called the distance travelled, and the other one is called the displacement. Here, the person was standing here. He took an entire circle of 800 meters and he was still standing here. Which means that even after covering a distance of 800 meters, he was still on the same spot. Therefore, distance travelled is defined as the actual length of path travelled by the object. I repeat, distance travelled is the actual length of path travelled by an object, and displacement is the distance between the final position and the initial position. In this particular case, the distance travelled is 800 meters, whereas displacement is 0. Let us understand this with our earlier examples. We have taken the example of bus stand A to bus stand B to bus stand C. This was 5 kilometers and this was 3 kilometers. In the same example, we also saw A to B to C. This was 5 kilometers and this was 3 kilometers. The distance travelled in both cases by the bus, the reading of the odometer of the bus will be equal to 8 kilometer. However, when we talk in terms of displacement, in this case is 8 kilometer because the final position is 8 kilometer away from the initial position, whereas the displacement in this case is only 2 kilometer because the distance between the final and the initial position is only 2 kilometer. Therefore, displacement is a vector quantity, whereas distance travelled is a scalar quantity. Again, the distance between the final position and the initial position 5 plus 3 is 8 kilometer and 8 kilometer, whereas here, though the bus travels 5 plus 3, 8 kilometer as distance travelled, the displacement, the distance between the final position and the initial position is only 2 kilometer. Distance being a scalar quantity, we do not consider the direction. Displacement, however, being a scalar vector quantity, we consider the direction in which the bus has travelled. Now, how do we compare two motions? Again, we have a scalar quantity to compare the two motions, and we have a vector quantity to compare two motions. Let us take the scalar quantity first, and the term is familiar to all of you. We call it speed, which is total distance travelled upon total time taken. Here we should not confuse ourselves. What is the confusion in such a simple thing? The confusion is that in SI unit, the international unit, distance is always taken in meters and time is always taken in seconds. We are very familiar with talking of speed as kilometer per hour, but in physics we talk of speed in meters per second. So if you get the speed in kilometer per hour, the first thing you should do is convert kilometer into meter and hour into seconds, and only then go for further calculations. Kilometer and hour are not to be considered for calculation. For calculation, we must take meter and second. Speed, like I said, is a scalar quantity. We do not consider any direction while measuring speed. However, it is our common experience that while traveling from home to anywhere, if we are walking, cycling, using a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, Our speed more or less varies every second. Every second our speed changes. It is very occasional that we maintain a regular similar speed. So how do we calculate the speed? Do we consider, and remember, speed is to be measured in meter per second. So the moment the next second you change your speed, the calculation differs. So how do we calculate the speed? There are two ways of doing it. One is to calculate speed every second, which is very cumbersome even for a computer. So what do? We go for average speed, written as S subscript AB. What is the total average speed? It is the same. The total distance traveled upon total time taken. That gives us the average speed. Again, what is to be remembered is the distance must be taken in meter and time must be taken in second. No other unit is allowed here. Now let us come to the vector quantity. The vector quantity is called velocity, and velocity is total displacement upon total time. Again here, displacement is to be measured in meter and time to be measured in seconds. And therefore, the unit of velocity as well as speed will be meter upon second, that is meter per second, which can also be written as meter into second raised to -1. So these are the two ways of writing the unit of velocity and speed. Only the calculations would differ. Speed to be measured by distance traveled and velocity to be measured by total displacement. However, we also experience, even when there is no traffic, say for example, we are traveling in a train, there will be nothing on the track. And the common experience says that when the train is standing on the platform, you get in, the train starts moving slowly, gradually gathers speed, continues at a particular speed for some distance, then gradually slows down and comes to a standstill on the next station. So if we draw a graph, it will be something like this. Begins, reaches, maintains, comes back. Here it will be time, and here it will be distance. Picks up speed, maintains speed, reduces speed, comes to a halt. How do we describe these three portions of the graph? This is the ascending part, this is the flat part, and this is the descending part. And therefore, the increase or decrease of speed or velocity will require a specific term, and that specific term is acceleration, and is usually denoted by small a. Acceleration is change in velocity per second. We will define it as change in, remember it is velocity and not speed upon time. So what will be the units? We know that velocity is to be measured in ms raised to -1, and s is for time, and this will give us the final unit as ms raised to -2, that is meter per second square. Again, acceleration will mean increase, maintenance or decrease in the velocity per unit time in 1 second. Change in velocity per unit time. The unit, because the velocity is measured in meter per second, time is measured in second, it will be meter per second, which can be written as meter per second square. So velocity, we have meter per second, acceleration, we have meter per second square. Again remember, no other unit for distance other than meter is allowed for calculation, neither is any other unit for time other than second is allowed for calculation. So whenever you are calculating, and you will be getting some numericals, you will be calculating first everything, converting everything first in meter whenever there is any other unit of distance, and converting any other unit of time into second, and only then continue with your calculation. Till then, no other calculation is allowed. Here again, we have two signs for acceleration. When it is increasing, we have positive, and when it is decreasing, we have negative. Again here, positive sign is not the plus number on the number line, and negative sign is not the negative number on the number line. They only indicate that when acceleration is positive, it is increasing the velocity, and whenever acceleration is negative, it is decreasing in velocity. When it comes to technical term, there is a word called retardation. Which stands for negative acceleration. So when the speed is increasing, we call it acceleration. When the speed is decreasing, we call it retardation. Only thing is, we do not consider speed here, we consider velocity. So the increase in velocity, acceleration, a reduction in velocity, a retardation. However, in a numerical, you can be asked the question in two different ways. One question will be what is the final or what is the acceleration. And if your answer is negative, you know that the velocity is reducing and therefore the acceleration answer is to be given with a negative sign. However, if the same question is asked to you that what is retardation, then the negative sign automatically gets eliminated here. Because the moment you say retardation, it is a reduction in velocity. There are some relationships between, but first of all, let us understand. In acceleration, we said change in velocity. Divided by total time. Now, how do we calculate the change in velocity? We calculate the change in velocity as final velocity minus initial velocity and then divided by time. The final velocity is denoted by capital V. The initial velocity is denoted by a large U and the time is denoted by T here. So we get our first equation for calculating velocity is V minus U upon T. Now we come to some other relationships between time, initial velocity, final velocity, distance travelled and acceleration. The relationship is between acceleration, final velocity, initial velocity, distance, or we may say displacement. And because we are only going to learn about linear motion, we can replace the two words by any one. We can call distance as displacement or displacement as distance. And finally, time. Symbolically, it is some relation between A, V, U, we use S for displacement and T for height. So amongst these five, we have various relationships. 3 to be exact. And what are the relationships? The first relation tells us everything about 4 quantities except distance traveled. So, distance traveled is not given. In the second, final velocity not given. And in the third, time not given. We have already seen the fourth one. We'll talk about it later. But remember these 3. And the most important question, no paper of science will be without this particular derivation. The derivation is called deriving equations of acceleration by graphical method. We will be learning about this in the next period.